Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 4 of our leggings event sew along. Today we'll be adding the waistband. So at this point your waistband may be looking very different than mine, and that's okay because I've included so many patterns in this sew along, so there's so many options. But if you're doing the waistband from the color block add-on, you should have a back, a front. So the back has that V and the pockets we've added on day 2, a front, and 2 linings. Cool? If you're doing a regular waistband or a yoga waistband, you should have 2 rectangles, whether you're doing a high rise or low rise. With the second add-on, there's an option for contour waistband, which I adore. I highly recommend the contour waistband for anybody who wants to tuck any excess belly in. I love that waistband. I love it. So that one also has a front, a back, and a lining front and back. So it will be constructed pretty similar to the one that I'm doing today. Alright, so depending on which one you have, let's get started and adding the waistband to the leggings. I will start with the front and the back of mine, and I'm going to place them right sides together along the side seam. I was checking to make sure that I got the directional print correct. Okay, so you want to have the smaller on the front. The smaller will be on the top and the larger curve would be on the bottom. So you're going to place that right sides together and sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance along the side seam. If you're doing the regular rectangle waistband, you'll be sewing the waistband in a loop. So place right sides together on the short end and sew it in a loop. Okay, so I have my outer waistband done. I'm going to repeat the same step for my lining. Again, my lining is like leftover, so ignore the fact that it's like 2 different fabrics with the center marking. Just ignore that. It's because I've used the leftover panel. There are 2 pieces for the lining, separate pieces for the lining and the main in this pattern, because the lining is slightly smaller than the main. The reason for that being that you don't want it to pull out on the edges. Being smaller, it will remain hidden under the main part. Okay, so the lining is done. What you want to do next will be to sew the lining and the main right sides together. So I'm turning my lining with the right side out, placing it inside my main. So this way, right now the right sides together, and you're going to match the side seams. And I do add pins on this instance. Okay, so match the side seams. And again, I like to place 1 seam allowance to the left, 1 seam allowance to the right to reduce any kind of bulk. And then put a few pins along the top without stretching anything. You will be doing the same steps for the contour waistband, exactly like that. For the regular waistband, once you've sewn it in a loop, you're going to press it wrong sides together lengthwise, and that is pretty much your waistband ready to be added to the leggings. So pinned together, this is what it looks like, and we're going to sew all around. This is the front, this is the back. So I'm going to start on a side seams, and what I'm going to also do is add some clear elastic for extra strength. This is an optional step, but I like to include some clear elastic in these steps that I'm not going to stretch, but I just add it for extra strength. Just guiding my elastic in the seam without stretching. And I'm placing it a little lower because my elastic is less than half an inch. It's, I think, 3/8 of an inch. So I'm not placing it like right along the edge here. I'm placing it a little lower. Yeah, make sure you don't cut your elastic. Unless you get to the end. So this is what it looks like with the elastic added. See, it's right in the seam. So right now I'm going to turn this right side out. And if you want, you can top stitch. Just make sure you push, and I think I will. Again, I like for my leggings a lot of reinforcement. So I kind of like to top stitch this waistband also. If you do use your sewing machine for top stitching, use a zigzag stitch, pretty wide one, or a twin needle. If you're using your sewing machine for the construction of this garment, for all the steps that are construction related, not top stitching, use a triple stretch stitch. That has the best hold out of all. Oh, this is so pretty. And I like that this back ties in with all the parts of the legging. Okay, so let's go ahead and top stitch all around. And I start from the side seam. And go slow because there's a lot of layers to go over. lock in those stitches. Okay, the waistband is done. This is what it looks like from the back. Okay, this is what it looks like from the front. So now you want to find the center of, actually let me pin to keep the seam allowance in the same direction. I'll put a pin where the side seam is. I'm feeling with my fingers to keep the seam allowance going in the same direction as it is, like right here. Again, for the same reason, to reduce any bulk. Okay, and this is the back that is already pinned. The lining is not pinned, so now I'm adding the lining to it and pinning it on the back where I have my previous pins. The lining is shorter than the main, and that's normal, that's intentional, so it doesn't pull when you wear the leggings. Okay, so there's the back. I'm going to mark my center front with a pin right here. Okay, so this is the front. The V in my case is in the back. Okay, we're going to take the leggings that we worked on yesterday. Okay, and we're going to slide the waistband, the right sides together with the leggings, matching the center front, the side seams, okay. You can definitely put a couple of pins on the front between the center front and the side seams. This is a 1-to-1 ratio, so there is no stretching involved in this waistband. I believe the only one that has stretching involved is the yoga waistband. Other than that, they should be 1-to-1 ratio. Pause. Before we go any further, I do need to mention that if you're doing the body leggings with the skirt, which is basically a circle skirt cut on 2 folds. So if you're adding that skirt to the body leggings, right now you'll be layering the skirt in between the leggings and the waistband, okay? So you'll have 3 layers. You'll have your leggings, the wrong side of the skirt towards the right side of the leggings, and then the waistband, right sides together with the skirt, okay? That's the only mention that I needed to make because I obviously don't have a skirt to add. So now where that V is, again, I'll work from the front so I see it easier. I'm going to do basically the same thing that I did when I did my collar blocking. I was looking for the scissors. Okay, so right now at that V, I'm going to keep the corner right here, a little higher up. And then I'll pin on the sides. Like I said, this is a 1-to-1 ratio. However, it is a convex and a concave curve. So you have to ease one to the other. But there is minimal easing because one is not smaller than the other. It's just given by the shape. And I do encourage you to use pins for this step. You know I don't like to use a lot of clips or pins, but this step actually does. I encourage you to do that because the waistband lining is shorter. You need to make sure it stays in place before you stitch. Okay, so same thing on the other side. I am pinning it like so. fabric is so cute. You've got to watch that movie. I believe it's on HBO Max. I think that's where I saw it. It's streaming on HBO Max. Okay, so this is what it looks like all pinned. So we're going to go ahead and stitch all around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I like to start at the V part in the back. So with my corner like this, and keep in mind there is a ton of layers, like there's a lot of layers here. Go slow, give your machine a chance to adjust to all the layers. Stitch slowly. There's also the layers of the top stitching. There's the layers of the seam allowance. There's a if you want, you can do this step on your sewing machine with your, if you feel like your serger won't handle all the layers, do this step on your sewing machine and make sure you use a triple stretch stitch. To look into what I did with the serger. Ever since I changed my blade, it's making this banging noise. I'm sure I put something wrong or something not tight enough. I don't know. I need to look into it. So when I get to this, I make sure that I follow the like so. See how it looks like this. All right, so this is it for the waistband. At this point you definitely have a pair of leggings. The only thing we have left to do is hem the bottom, and if you're doing the petite pegs, they also have an option of a cuff if you want. But the pegs and the bonnie have a hem on the bottom, which we'll do tomorrow. But this is what it looks like from the front. Oh, sorry, from the front. This is the front. And this is the back. And I will go ahead and top stitch this because, like I said, I want all the extra layers of sturdiness, and I'm going to top stitch with the seam allowance down, so towards the leg, starting also from the V point, and I'm doing the seam allowance down because there's so many layers on the top. So I don't want to mess with that. Okay. So I start right at the V with my seam allowance down. And go all around. There's a lot of layers in some spots. Because of all the pockets. Okay, and I've ended my top stitching where that V is in the back. we are set. Everything is nice and done and top stitch. Waistband is added. Obviously it needs a little press on all the seams. This is what the front looks like and the back with the little pockets here. Very nice. All right, my friends, take a picture of your progress for day 4. All we have left to do tomorrow is add the cup, so they should really look like leggings right now. I encourage you to try them on if they're made for you or for someone that lives close to you. Try them on before you hem them tomorrow. This way you want to make sure that the 1-inch hem is sufficient or is the right length. Maybe you need 1.5 inch, you know what I mean, if you haven't adjusted the length of the pattern for your height. So I recommend trying them on and then hemming them. If they're a gift, just so you know, the pattern does have a 1-inch hem that we'll be doing tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching today and for joining me in this sew along, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye!